guys ready? You better be ready, because it's almost showtime. Come on. Let's do this. Hey guys!
What's going on? Welcome to the One Up Weekly Live. Yeah. Oh, we have a show for you tonight, don't we, Ralph?
Yeah, that was a really good yeah. Do you know how long with the latency it's hard to get that yeah right, but that was the best yeah out of 19 episodes.
Let's do this.
I love it. All right, calm down, Justin. Calm down. So how you been? How's everything going?
Dude, I'm doing great. Are you doing great? Like, I had the day off on Friday. I got the day off tomorrow. I've been working so hard. I just needed a break.
Yeah, no, I think we all needed a little break, that's for sure. Things are good. Been working on a lot of stuff. Work's been busy. Got projects going on. How's everyone out there doing? Hopefully everyone's doing well and staying safe and all that. So we're going to go right into it. So it's kind of interesting because we're coming up at this interesting part of the year, right? Where Justin and I, if this was a normal year, we would be right now doing final preparations for E3. So we would be literally at the finish line. And, the funny thing is that Justin and I actually became friends from CES the first time I really met him. I mean, actual, real physical real life friends. And we learned so much from CES. First of all, we got a lot of great feedback from you guys saying, hey, we felt like we were there with you. You did the night show. It was awesome. But we also got some constructive criticism. Like there was microphone issues and stuff like that. So
that's right.
After the show, I went and we upgraded microphones and some of the reasons why that was happening.
We were
it was
so pumped for this year because of E3. We were like, okay, we're going to take everything that we learned from CES, and you guys thought we brought it at CES. We were really going to bring it at E3.
We were ready.
But of course, everyone knows that E3 got canceled, but we're trying to keep the excitement high because we have some interesting thoughts about what could have happened at E3 and what is probably still going to happen despite there is no E3 this year.
I mean, there is no reason to have a frown. So turn that frown upside down because we know the next probably 60 days, somewhere within that 60 days, at least from an Arcade 1-Up perspective, there's going to be some exciting news. Now, some of it we can speculate. We don't really know anything, but we can kind of start to derive ideas based on things that we've seen. And there's a lot of interesting, tidbits of information coming from a whole bunch of different places.
That's right. It was crazy. Do you remember at CES we got to meet Bernie Sanders? That was the highlight of my time at CES. I don't know about you.
And who knew he was the CEO? Who knew he was the CEO of Stern Pinball? I was like,
that was so crazy. And then right at E3, who would we have met then? Like, who knows? It would have been. It'd have been really crazy.
What do you call it when you're working two jobs and is it double dipping when you're getting two paychecks? Like he's this political figure and he runs the CEO of a pinball company. Like, how has this never been exposed?
I don't know.
Jeez,
that's right.
I don't know. He's sly like that, I guess.
So let's recount it for a second. So at CES, Arcade 1-Up had a lot of announcements, and we're starting to see those roll out. Now we've talked about this on a few episodes ago. We wanted to revisit this because we really just want to focus on the what's next, even though our episode was called What's Next.
We never really got to it.
We teed up to it, and then we ran out of time. So we're just going to start there, right?
Oh, moonlighting is the term. Yeah, when you're
That's right.
working two jobs. Man, my family's on it. Thank you.
That's right.
You guys always come quick with the fixes. I love it.
So if we compare to last year, let's talk about that for a second. What was the big, huge title that Arcade 1-Up? You were there. You were there, Ralph. I was watching you.
Yeah, it was.
But you were there.
It was Scott with this black sheet, and he removes the black sheet, and everyone's like, "Holy crap!" It was really crazy to see that Star Wars game.
Yeah,
because I honestly didn't think that's what it was under there. I don't even know if I knew I just had all these ideas, but I didn't expect it to be Star Wars. But then when I saw a yoke on it, I was like, "Holy crap!" And my first thought was, how the heck are they going to produce this and make this good?
That's right.
Because the yoke is it's a more complex control for them, and they had control issues in the past. I'm like, dude, there's no way they're going to pull off the yoke, and they did. Like, the yoke's good. Yeah. So it was crazy. But anyways, yeah. So sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. No problem. So. Obviously, Arcade 1-Up makes their big announcements at these conventions, right? So CES, what their plan was, CES, they were going to announce some things, and of course, we knew E3 was going to be even more announcements And so that should be in the next few weeks, but of course it got canceled. So what I expected was, we haven't really heard much about the pinball, because there was a Star Wars pinball announcement at CES that Ralph got to play.
And when we were, and I don't know if you guys remember, but remember when we had all those leak episodes? Like, I know you guys were tuned in for the leak episodes. When we saw the one with the Back to the Future thing, I mean, we know that a lot of you guys are super fans of Back to the Future. We're personally super fans. Justin and I literally like hyperventilated almost. We were like, it's Back to the Future. Like, it was crazy.
Yeah, we were going halfsies on renting a DeLorean there in Vegas, and we were gonna like
no, that's real.
That's real.
Justin, I need to tell a story. Well,
we were literally like in an Uber or a taxi, and he was on the phone with the guy that owns a DeLorean, and we were like figuring out what we could do, and he's explaining how we were going to shoot some video about it, because we were like, we had a lot of cool ideas, but then we were like, wait a second, because we thought maybe because of the leaks they were going to announce a Back to the Future
we were pretty convinced,
pinball machine.
We were still pretty convinced. So I had the Back to the Future DeLorean car guy on speed dial in Vegas. The funny thing is like there were all these rules though. It's like we thought we could drive it. So Justin and I were like, we're gonna be on the strip. I'm gonna hang cameras out the window. Like we're gonna get all these awesome shots. We're gonna get wheel shots on like tripods. We like had it all planned. The guy's like, yeah, I mean, there's one stipulation. You can't drive it. And him and I, it looked like the look of defeat. I mean, it looked like someone like murdered our like pet dog that we loved.
We're like,
it was like, we can't drive it?
All right.
All right. So wait,
scratch that idea.
So that ain't happening. So before we move on, Mike, Rhode Island Mike says, supporting my friends, keep doing what you're doing. Also, Ralph is becoming a Star Wars fanboy. Yeah, Mike, it's a little. I mean, I don't know if I'd go that far, but I do appreciate the super chat. And Justin will probably make fun of how much I don't know about Star Wars. So let's
Force
leave it at that.
is not strong with this one. Yeah, so Lewis is right. I mean, that's what I would have expected at E3, right? You'd do a big announcement for the Star Wars pinball, and then Attack from Mars, right? Is that the title, right? I'm not familiar with that game very well, so I may have...
Yeah, I always get...
It's not Mars Attacks, it's Attack from Mars, right?
Yeah, I always get Attack from Mars and Mars Attacks confused, but yeah.
That's right. So then naturally, probably they would have done, what was it, Back to the Future... with Jaws,
it would have had Jaws,
E.T.
and it would have had E.T. Yeah,
right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what we think it would have had.
That's what we think. So maybe that's still coming, right? We hope so, but there's probably still something that we don't know about because I think the big E3 cabinet wasn't going to be Buck Hunter. I don't think that was going to be their big announcement. It could be something like Buck Hunter, and maybe we talk about that. Maybe people don't know about those leaks, but we did a video in January where we showed pictures of an arcade one-up room, a room with arcade cabinets that included, Miss Pac-Man was in there, a 40th anniversary, but a slightly different version of it. And then
I was trying to do my best. I know you guys probably, if you don't know this YouTuber, his name is CounterCade, and he kind of goes out and he does a lot of like speculative stuff. I mean, deep speculation. He like tries to put these pieces together, very much investigative work. And Justin and I were putting on our best CounterCade. We're like looking at the picture. I'm like, okay, I took a picture of the carpet pattern. When we get to CES, we're gonna match that carpet pattern with some other carpet. Like we were convinced, but we couldn't find that carpet pattern.
Yeah, we're like, it's not.
So it might not have happened there. Like who knows where the hell those pictures came from? To be honest, I mean, who knows?
Yep.
So, but there was a Stringer Films super chat to remind me of my assaulting of Pac-Man. It's unfortunate.
Yeah. I was looking forward to E3 because who would you have assaulted there?
I don't know. Hopefully not a video game character or anyone else for that matter.
Vegas is one thing, but, LA is another, right?
Stuff gets out of hand in Vegas.
That's right.
Hey, man, as long as they redesign it and the head is turned appropriately.
Well, they did move it the other way, like 5 minutes later, right? Like,
yeah. Oh wow! I didn't realize that Pac-Man had a restraining order against me. That's kind of Where does Pac-Man reside these days? Like, where's he live? Because I'm in Arizona, so maybe I'm like safe. Maybe it doesn't cross state lines.
Yeah,
that's funny, Mike.
Okay, so what other? We should get talking about. We don't know what title they're going to release in the next couple months, but we do like the idea of discussing what type of cabinet we'd like to see.
Yeah.
So the natural evolution, right, is you got a Star Wars cabinet with the yoke. We want to see more of that. We want to see something else controls with the steering wheel, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, so there's really two categories. We will go. There was one other little piece of news I want to cover, but we'll do that after. But there's really like two genres that we haven't seen, right? We haven't seen a racing genre, and we haven't seen what I'll call light guns, but they're not technically light guns on the newer cabinets, but shooting. So we haven't seen racing, and we haven't seen shooting. And so the interesting thing is when you start to look at what who they've worked with so far, you've got Sega, you've got Atari, right? And you go so right off the bat, you could come up with at least 4 titles through those two publishers that could be like kind of interesting. You've got Outrun, you've got Daytona USA. From the Atari standpoint, you have Pole Position, you have Road Blasters, which actually had like kind of a yoke-ish controller anyway. So like those are 4 right there that are iconic titles that are pretty interesting right there. Bozo.
Yeah, we got some good contributions here. Yeah, Nikki Crazy Taxi would be
I didn't even think about Crazy
insane.
Taxi. Crazy Taxi would be awesome. I wonder, now here's the thing, you guys probably don't know this. When you do Crazy Taxi on YouTube, you get dinged instantly with Crazy Taxi because of the Offspring.
Yeah.
You probably got dinged right there.
Oh,
so
yeah.
It was a fun.
Oh, I just got the copyright strike. Well, just flew right in.
But when Crazy Taxi came out, that Offspring like album at the time was super popular. So like it kind of made that game super fun to play because you were already into the Offspring songs.
Yep.
So it was kind of fun. But yeah, no, I love myself some Crazy Taxi. It's
we
always
got some
been
good
fun.
one. T2 would be amazing.
So we didn't get to the shooting genre yet, but if you think about it, all right, we'll jump around. So T2 would be Midway, and obviously they've worked with Midway because they worked with Midway on NBA Jam, and they work with Midway on
Mortal Kombat.
So like you kind of look at, they've already worked with these people for various different games already, so it would be somewhat easy. Then you spin over at Atari. Atari has 2 super iconic, one ultra iconic, which is Area 51, and then a lot of times the forgotten one, Maximum Force, and then there was a cabinet in the arcade. It wasn't in every arcades, but some arcade owners would buy the ROM kit upgrade, so you'd do Maximum Force and Area 51 in the same cabinet. So that's really cool. So it's very possible to do that in the same cabinet, which I think people would totally dig. Buck Hunter, I don't know, like Michael. Oh shoot, I lost his super chat. Sorry, or his message. Michael B, the Game Genie, he says, Buck Hunter doesn't do much for me. I think Buck Hunter's like, it's kind of fun, but it's not really a game I really enjoy that much either. So, but it seems to have a huge following.
It might actually be really cool to have right next to a Golden Tee, because it's like those. For me, like every single bar I go to, no. It's like you're recreating the bar, right? You're like every bar I go to, there's a Buck Hunter.
It's a wicked good point. There's always a Buck Hunter and
a Golden Tee next to each other.
So true.
It would be cool to have them together.
If we could throw a Silver Strike, you've got like Ultimate, right? But I don't know, the Silver Strike thing. We'll since I just said it, we'll kind of talk about it for 2 seconds.
Sure.
I don't know, Justin. My true feeling is the Silver Strike thing is not happening. That was kind of like a concept.
Why would they even put it out there then? That I'm not completely sold they're not going to do it. Like, okay, think about it. So what else are they going to do with, we look at the other cabinets that they have. They got several Capcom, several Midway. So obviously they like to work with the publishers again. And so with, what's it, the IT company, right? Like
Incredible Technologies,
right? Like they're going to do something else with them again, I'm sure. Why not?
You know what game Incredible Technologies made? I did a post on this, and no one could figure it out. Is Incredible Technologies actually did Street Fighter the game, the movie? They actually did that game, which is so crazy. I don't think we'll ever. Right. I don't think that's one arcade one-up's gonna rush to do. But and Zohar will have a heart attack anyway because he's like, full motion video, that game sucks, so he'll lose his mind. But speaking of Zohar, he said. They already have a relationship with Sega, so I think acquiring licenses for Virtua Cop series and House of the Dead should be easy. I would totally agree with you, man. Right. I think they would be easy. Now, the deciding factor is going to be, and this is more of a Justin topic than for me, but you had Generation 1 PCB, Generation 2 PCB, Generation 3. Now, every single one of those added more RAM, added more CPU, which meant playing more complex games. When you start getting to like Virtua Cop 3D type stuff, I don't know. Like, I don't know if that system, like I'm not guessing, that's current Gen 3, I don't think could handle that kind of stuff. So it's what does the next generation look like? Because House of the Dead, they might be able to pull off with some upgraded hardware. So you got to wonder. And then the other thing, Justin, that someone asked me this the other day, and I was having a hard time answering the question because some of it's unknown to me, and I think even unknown to you, is that they work with all these companies like Code Mystics to do the commercial emulation.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know who did like Pac-Man, because someone asked me, they said, did Code Mystics do Pac-Man? And I said, I actually don't know, but I don't believe so.
Right.
But I don't know that for fact, because
they should be in the boot up sequence that they usually advertise. Like right when you turn it on, it says it, and it's like DigitalOcean was one of them in the past,
Yeah.
and then Code Mystics is on like Star Wars, and we believe they did the NBA Jam and maybe the Sega, the new Golden Axe cab. They did mention, John did mention that the Golden Axe, Death of the what? I'm spacing on the full sentence. Death Adder, is that right? Really pushes the it's their highest performing like game. It pushes the limits of their unit the most, and which it runs really well, and so it actually gives them confidence that they can do a lot of interesting things.
Holy crap! I don't want to change the subject, but Juan sent this message and he said, he sent a picture of this Steel Battalion arcade 1-up mod. This thing's stinking insane. I have to show this. This is insane. Oh my gosh, I've never seen that. This is like next level-ish kind of stuff. So I'm going to share the screen really quick. I always love, I know it's a little off topic from what we're talking about right now, but you start looking at some of the things that people do, out in the community, and like, look, oh shoot, hold on, wrong one. But look at the I'm going to make it bigger really quick, but look at what the controls he's got on this thing.
Oh, yeah.
It's insane. That's awesome. That's pretty cool stuff. So good job on that, man. I've never seen anybody do anything like that. My question would be, what is your interface to get that working? So that's what I'd love to know, but that's pretty cool. I don't know if that's all like USB stuff or what, but that's pretty awesome. So props on that, dude. That is sick.
Yeah, really cool. Very, very cool.
All right. So we've got these genre. And by the way, I'm really surprised that no one's noticing that what's playing behind me over here. Like, I'm really surprised. I put that on purpose because it's a game that everyone always asks about. So I'll let you guys noodle on what you think it is back there. But it's something that everyone asks for all the time. And I'm really shocked not one person has brought it up. Maybe you can't see it very good. I don't know. Yeah. Oh, all right. Never mind. Someone got it already, or at least guessed it before I said it. It's Marvel vs. Capcom 2.
Very cool.
Nice.
Yeah, so back on topic, right? Well, we did get this Epic. I'm sorry. We're like fighting over the Epic Center Gaming. He said the next game I want to see is the Black Edition head-to-head Pac-Man. I paid for 8 weeks ago that still hasn't shipped. Love your show, guys. Yeah, I think so. This is what I do know, or what you can glean from looking at the various Arcade 1-Up announcements. Arcade 1-Up is a company themselves. They're business to business. They have a relationship with retailers, and those retailers are their distribution arm. But in this year, Arcade 1-Up also started doing direct to consumer through their website, and I believe their fulfillment centers are in LA. And when the pandemic started, they did. I believe there was an announcement that they had to shut down their distribution arm in LA, if I'm not mistaken. And so replacement parts were going to be slow to release, but all of their, like everything that you would buy directly from them, I believe has some sort of delay. We haven't really seen a delay on like NBA Jam. That seems to be like it's coming soon. The Miss Pac-Man, I'm sorry, not Miss Pac-Man, the Pac-Man 40th anniversary. No delays there because that's between, the coming from China and then they're going to Walmart, and then Walmart's doing the distribution, or Best Buy and GameStop and so on and so forth. And so we haven't really seen much of a delay there.
Yeah. But thank you for the super chat. Appreciate that. And we're going to have, so part of the reason why we're so excited to talk about this speculation and everything. So I don't have the date dialed in yet with them, but I've been talking to John D. If you guys don't know, he's the senior vice president for licensing at Arcade 1-Up. Mm-hmm. And we're trying to lock in a date. So him and I are trying to lock in a date so that we can have him on the show. And we want to do it close to what would be sort of the CES time frame, or sorry, not CES, but the E3 time frame.
That's right.
And our plan is to, we need you guys, we need your help. We're gonna respectfully ask some questions, and they might be tough ones, right? So we need to ask some questions, like, what are we gonna get? What is he gonna share with us? Maybe there'll be some surprises, I don't know. But the thing is interesting is that he did say in a Twitter message out, it was somewhere like the last couple weeks, where I said John would be on the show, And he's like, yes, I'll be on the show. And someone asked him about the NBA Jam roster, and he said he'd like to talk about that on the show.
That's right.
So I'm like, what do you want to talk about on the NBA Jam roster? Because we kind of feel like we know pretty much what's going on that, unless there's something new, which would kind of feed into the conspiracy theory that CounterCade put out there that they'd be getting the pretty much one-of-a-kind, unique NBA Jam or Michael Jordan version of the ROM, which I don't know. Who knows? That's total speculation. We have no reason to believe that.
That's right.
It's a cool speculation, though.
Really cool.
That would be like really cool because there is an official ROM with him on it. It's just that's not what was released for licensing purposes and all sorts of things. So that would be pretty damn cool.
Yep. And
if that happened.
Could John D close it? That would be a cool thing. We'll see. But remember, if you guys were with us during the CES period, we had day 1, day 2, day 3, and we would do a nightly show, and we would ask you guys, hey, what questions do you have? And if we were at E3, we would do the same thing. So that's right now for us. Because there's no E3, we need you guys to comment in this video. We need you to comment, put question marks. No super chats needed for this. Just put some question marks inside your questions. I'll be coming back and collecting as many comments as I can find that have question marks in it. And then we'll see, just like we did at CES, and we'll try to narrow those down. And when John D comes in, we'll go through those like we did last time. We actually talked with John D offline, said, hey, are these questions that you're willing to at least let us ask during the live interview? And if he okays it, then we'll ask him. But just like at CES...
Are you asking them to do this now?
You can do it now. You can do it after the show. But between now and he may be here next...
I have to burp. All right, hold on. It went away. It went away. It was one of those ones where, when you have to burp, but you can like swallow your burp. So we're good.
Yeah.
All right.
So questions like when will we get Daytona USA is it? I don't know if he's going to answer those type of questions, right?
Well, Michael brings up a good point. He's like, what is how they've been they talked about in several occasions the Ferrari cab? I don't know, man. Like what in my mind, what I wasn't calling it the Ferrari cab. My personal term I was using was like a pro line, right? Like a pro line of cabinets that had the best controls. Potentially the cabinet design completely matched the original design. It would have upgraded speakers. It would have everything that you would mod it, with, but at a pretty reasonable price.
Like Terry Scott, this is a great question. Basically what happened with CounterCades and the Wallcades, I'll add.
You mean the arcade one-up CounterCade?
Wait. Can we do that again?
I can try. Okay. All right, ready? It's the arcade one-up.
Come on, Ralph. Seriously.
Well,
it's the arcade
one-up CounterCade. Yeah.
Anyway,
CounterCade.
What is wrong with you, Ralph? Anyway, so that's an interesting one. We did ask that at CS, and what I want to know is how did that work out? Were they actually able to, work with a manufacturer to highly scalably, distribute or whatever, manufacture a whole bunch of CounterCades at that $99 price point, and maybe even bring down the price of the Partycade? And what titles are they going to do? Like, we were really interested in, like, hey, why don't you re-release Gen 1 titles on a CounterCade?
Yeah.
Like, give us a Street Fighter, give us a Mortal Kombat.
We were in the middle of the cool thing about CES is if you're in the arcade one-up booth, you have vendors coming in, and Capcom came in.
Yeah.
And so we saw, because they were wearing all their Capcom stuff and it said Capcom on their badge, and John D was doing his, obviously he's going to do some marketing. He worked with them before. He worked at Capcom. So he was showing them the CounterCades in a new form factor. He's like, yeah, what would you think about a Street Fighter in this? And so then they start to walk away to the next booth. And I'm like, hey man, so what's going on with that? He's like, he was like, oh, wait. Like, hold on a second. Like he didn't want me to start talking about, oh my gosh, they're doing a Street Fighter and it's happening. I heard it from his mouth.
Yeah, nothing official. But he had some really cool ideas how to solve the problem. So on the CounterCade, one of the problems is that how you going to put 2 players on it? Like, it's not going to work. But what you can do for something like Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat,
what if you could link them together somehow?
That's right. So you just sell one CounterCade, and then you can link a second one There was even yet another idea where you could have a single CounterCade and a USB port where you could just plug in the second controller. And that would be another solution. Like that does really solve the problem.
My Arcade was showcasing. So there's a company called My Arcade that makes all these little mini guys. They're like micro arcades, and they did have a Street Fighter head-to-head that they showed off at CES because we couldn't play it. Okay. Well, if Zohar was in charge, he wouldn't even allow it to be made. But I'm sure if they did Street Fighter, they would also do Mortal Kombat. I'm sure if they could. So, no, it'd be really neat to have sort of this like, link cable that could link them up, and you could have two players. That'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, here was one. Did you see
Hold on, Sean. I wish I knew the answer for that one. I did remember reading in the group recently, in one of the Facebook groups, they said the second wave are shipping soon. But that's another question we can pose too. So remember at CES they announced that if you bought during the CES period, you would actually pick it up. Was it? I can't remember the exact dates. Remember, it was something like if you did it before March 1st, you would actually get the first wave. And then everyone that bought after that is getting the second wave. And it's not like different ones. It's just, they ask to build whatever at a time. Would they sell 3,075? So maybe that's 2 or 3 different shipments. I don't know.
Yeah. And so there was another question in there that said, was Michael B. the Game Genie? He said, so there was a prototype DK there that wasn't turned on. Was there? So there was that one machine that had, one had Mega Man, and then it did
Mega Man.
Yeah, well, it was actually Donald Trump's version. It was the president's version.
It had a ROM hack.
No, it actually said Maga Man.
Right.
It was funny because I'm like,
that was the Coleco one, right?
Yeah, but there was a Donkey Kong. I can't remember which one had Donkey Kong, but they were like, no. Like a lot of those were meant to be turned off. I think for functionality purposes, they were just loading ROMs on these things to show people the functionality.
Yeah, so those early stages, right? So what we've been told is, like for example, we talked about CounterCade. He does a lot of great speculations, and there's other great YouTubers that do speculations, and we're not making fun of any of them. I've done speculation videos. Ralph has done speculation videos, but to inform you also, Arcade 1UP has actually manufactured for themselves. They said like almost every arcade title, it's like the top 100 title for themselves. Yep. Because while they're doing their research and development, think about it. They're like, hey, Hong Kong or China, wherever they're manufacturing them. Some are in Malaysia, and they're like, yeah, give us a Donkey Kong, give us a Simpsons cab, give us Contra, and they literally play it. They want to feel what that would be like. And because John has mentioned to us some of those titles that are on that list that are like the top 100 most popular arcade games of all time, they don't think would actually sell well.
Yeah.
Because when they started playing with them, they're like, this is not fun at all. So they take, what's going to sell because it's super popular. Like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is a great example because it spans generations, right? There's people in their 40s that love it, 30s that love it, 20s that love it. So I think that cabinet probably sold really well. But it's also has replayability. Like it's a fun game to play with multiple people. So it's like perfect 4-player game. NBA Jam is another one. You throw online on it, cherry on top, right?
Yeah.
But not every game is like that. So it's difficult to say. Some of the leaks that we have to cut it. Like we saw some of those leaks and we're like, okay, was that just a prototype that they were playing with? Or is that something they're actually planning on? It's hard to tell.
Yeah. And I don't want to take away from Justin's awesome comment, but we now have Retro Ralph yoga pants. So I don't know if you guys saw these, but these are
turned into a commercial.
These are available for sale for our two
Ralph,
women viewers.
Ralph, my wife was asking if we had any yoga pants for sale.
We do.
Oh my gosh.
We do.
That's great. Where would we get something like that?
I would just love, honestly, I would just love for one person to order the yoga pants just because I highly doubt anybody ever will. It was kind of a joke, but
so
they are there.
I think Get Off My Lawn Gaming's already bought one, so he'll be sending you a picture really soon. Can't
Okay,
wait.
I'm not making it a commercial, but the merch stuff is back. So there is a bunch of stuff, and I did add One Up Weekly stuff. We're not making any money off this. It's just there for like you can set your profit. It's like 50 cents on each thing. So there's like a very little bit. It's some of them. I think the shirts I'm making nothing. So because I wanted to get the premium T-shirts, so they're not that crappy. Like, you know, sometimes people buy T-shirts and it's like that scratchy stuff that like after you wash it, you don't even want to wear it again.
If you're smart, you would have put up a hairband up there. Be like retro
there's
Ralph
only so much
hairband.
Yeah, there's only so much stuff. So anyways, not to be cheesy, it doesn't even really help the channel. It's just if you enjoy it. Like, we're not making money from it, so it's more if you just enjoy the channel and want to promote it that way. Right? It's kind of cool. But the yoga pants I did as a joke to see if anybody would buy them.
Believe me, if 100 people buy it, we're cranking that profit up. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, they'll be like $50. No, I'm just kidding.
Right, no. Just watch. They'll go on eBay for like $300 in like 2 weeks. Be like, they're rare because Ralph forgot to renew it, you know?
So Drifter Comic still wants the Kentaro Kickathon t-shirt. I think you'd be the only one that wants that, but it is we did have fun on that episode. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe we'll design one just for the heck of it and see if anybody buys it, because we could maybe make one. It'd be kind of fun. Right. I was there for Kentaro Kickathon. Oh, wow, Lewis, thank you so much. That was me modeling them, so I appreciate that. Like, you could tell by the way I have those back dimples. You could totally tell it's me. Mm-hmm. So yeah, definitely. Mm-hmm. Sorry, I didn't mean to sidetrack you so much. There definitely is not. Now people are getting a little crazy. There is no Garage Gamer. There is no Retro Ralph thong. No one wants that.
That's coming.
No one wants it. No one wants. The only person that wants that is the Pac-Man giant joystick, and I'll leave it at that. All right.
Wow.
Okay. Where are we now? I forgot.
I have no clue.
I derailed everything. I'm sorry.
In the voice of Zohar, I don't know where I am, and I don't know where I am.
Okay, so getting back on track, I think you guys I think it would be really exciting. I don't even know if it's really speculation at this point. You got to think they're going to do racing. The only one that I'm like iffy on the fence on, and it's more about the technology, is the light guns, because light guns on LCDs still kind of suck. And there's a bunch of different options. There's the aim track, but you couldn't really pull off an aim track because you need a PC, and like that just isn't going to work. So like the aim track's probably out. And I think the aim track would cause way too many customer support issues, because the aim track's all about calibrate. You got to play from where you calibrated. And they could maybe build software to make the calibration and stuff easy. I don't see an aim track being the way to go.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe they'll go basic and just embed. Maybe they'll embed an IR sensor into the monitor.
A little bit of like a Wii, basically. Yeah,
like maybe they'll do it more that way and embed it, or what I would love to see, but I don't think would happen is get the side and light gun technology and make that partner with them to do it. That would be really cool. And speaking of the side and light gun, I did want to talk about the latest update. So those of you that are interested, if you're getting into light guns, I think right now, it's not that I don't like the aim track. I just feel like if you were going to go invest money in it right now, knowing that the Siden's not that far away, like maybe you wait, because it's going to be a way easier to configure experience. It's going to have a good list of compatibility. But they just released an update. It was their 18th update. I'll do it quick, but they ordered all the light gun shells, so they have all the gun shells, which they look really nice. They have all of the PCBs ordered for the force feedback. So those that bought the recoil version of the Kickstarter versus the non-recoil, that's all set. So that was actually an issue, because he thought COVID-19 he was going to not be able to ship the recoil guns. So you would have had to crack open your gun, which I think a lot of people wouldn't have been happy with. Right. Long story short, he's got all this stuff rolling. Manufacturing has started up again. So like he's past the COVID stuff as far as like access to the manufacturers that he needs. And he's slating that he thinks the shipments are going to be around August. So September. So that's pretty encouraging.
Send-in might actually happen. That's new technology being introduced into the community. And what's nice about that is it's like we saw with the Polymega, they're integrating that into the Polymega, or at least partnering with them in some sort of way. Are we going to see other companies do that as well? There is a super chat. I'm sorry, Mr. Zohar, that we forgot it, but he was asking us a question if we had seen the PlayMinimal. I haven't heard of that. Have you? What did you say? It was a tiny arcade, right?
Yeah, so that's a company, I think, out of the UK, because I priced it out. I priced out a PlayMinimal a while ago. I found out about PlayMinimal. I can pull up the website so you guys can see it. But I found out about PlayMinimal. Here, let me bring it up so you guys can see it. But I found out about PlayMinimal from my buddy, Wicked Gamer and Collector. So they build these like little miniature.
Oh, dude, that is sweet.
Yeah, but they're pretty cool because like this one looks like a Neo Geo cabinet.
Right.
They have a mini Burger Time. But I think when I dove into it, the pricing was really expensive. So let's like for giggles, let's put one together, but it's pretty expensive. So like let's say we wanted this Midway. Out of all the cabinets, I'm gonna pick the Midway one.
Okay, fine.
The Mortal Kombat. So see how it says full arcade, complete mini machine, ready to plug and play your favorite vintage titles. So one's a DIY kit and one's ready to go.
Okay.
And then you can have a light up marquee or not. Select the display size, so they go up to 10-inch displays. If you want 6 buttons, right? Because you're going to want to play 6-button games. There's a simulated coin mechanism or a real coin acceptor. So we'll say real. You can see how expensive this is going to be. We'll say the model default artwork, which I think is Mortal Kombat. And then retro gaming system, it's compatible with more than 10,000 games, which I think ends up being a Raspberry Pi or something like that. So if you look, I don't know, what the heck does that translate to? $403 euro. What is that?
Let's see, 403. It's $439.
Yeah, so that's before you ship it. So it's kind of cool. I mean, you look at it.
How big is it though? What's the size?
I can't remember the specs on it. It's a little bit. It's like.
Yeah,
it's bigger
really
than
expensive.
It's a lot bigger than.
It's one half size. Is that right?
Yeah. So imagine it's 27. So the height on this thing is 27.5 inches high. So I mean, it's a pretty high.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like,
okay. Yeah.
It's a pretty sizable unit.
Yeah,
they're cool.
It seems very niche and like maybe custom built or something.
Yeah, they're cool, but what I would like to see, what would be really neat to me, there was a guy. Do you remember when I did my Game On Expo last year? There was that guy that makes the mini arcades, but with real CRTs in them.
Oh, where was he out of?
I can't remember. But
those had CRTs in it, dude.
Those were freaking amazing, and they had the real arcade hardware in them. They were crazy cool, and I can't remember the name of them. But the guy only rents them. He doesn't sell them.
Oh, that's right. I remember that.
But I mean, this is cool and all, but just know, like, this is a Pi. So, like, you building but the design of the cabinet, like, this is what, get Arcade 1-Up to do this.
Oh my gosh.
Like, build me a Mortal Kombat, Zohar, which, I'm speaking to you, and everybody else also that's Mortal Kombat fans. I mean, build one that looks like a Midway cabinet. That'd be the pro line. That, to me, is the pro line. It's going to cost you more because they're going to have to specifically manufacture it. I mean, here's the one thing about 1-Up that's interesting. There's a reason why in the beginning they stuck with the cookie cutter, because it was one shape. It was easy to manufacture. They didn't have to do anything other than reskin it with different artwork. But now, I think now that they have some, the business is built up and they've built the brand a bit more, they're going out and going, hey, look, we'll spend a little more on the cabinet to make it more customized. But that would be ridiculously cool. I mean, I'd be all over something like that. I think a lot of you guys would too. I mean, would you guys, if they decided to build a Mortal Kombat?
Yeah, hit a 1 if you think
like
Ralph
that.
is that would be amazing. I mean, I think that's what we've talked about before. We got a super chat. Do you think they would ever do NFL Blitz? Now, I think NFL Blitz, if I remember, so that was it's a 4-player. Isn't it 4-player? It's kind of looks like NBA Jam. Like, actually, I played it.
NFL Blitz, they have a 4-player.
I played it this year at an arcade in, where was I? Cincinnati or something? And yeah, I was in Cincinnati and I was playing NFL Blitz, but it was on a NBA Jam, or no, maybe it was Mortal Kombat. It was like at a real arcade, but they totally just, I don't know what, Frankensteined.
Well, those cabinets are very similar. It might even be, I think it is close to the same cabinet. Like it might even be the same cabinet because it was maybe with the bigger.
It was MK. I think it was MK1. It was. Okay. I think it was an MK1 on the side.
You could do that. You just modify maybe modify the control panel, because I think the control panel is a little wider on Blitz than it is on Mortal Kombat. I'm pretty sure, because they have to shove 4 people. I think it's a little wider than Mortal Kombat, but it's a similar cabinet design. Yeah.
The problem with that game is that's like 3D, right? So it's more N64.
It's a tough game to emulate. Yeah.
Yeah. That might actually be difficult.
Did we get to this super chat? Or that was the super chat, right? The one.
Do you think they would ever do an NFL Blitz? I think so eventually, right? Everything is going to, as as technology grows, I don't know, how long is Arcade 1-Up going to be around, right? Are they going to be around for like 10 more years as just this hype train of constantly releasing new titles? That would be awesome. And so if they did, as like, for example, you can look at like a Raspberry Pi 4, right, as an example of an increase in technology where you can get a faster processor at that lower price, right? And it becomes ubiquitous where everyone like is buying that technology as their base. That's also going to be a similar hardware that they're going to put in minis, right? Like if you think about it, why did Nintendo release? Some people I've seen this theory that why did Nintendo release the NES Classic? It was because the Raspberry Pi community became so big, it was obvious that they should like actually officially license a way to play a whole bunch of classic games. And that just started like an explosion of retro gaming because now retro gaming was highly accessible to like everybody.
And relatively easy to set up for the most part.
That's right. So we haven't seen that leap. And I think that's why Nintendo, for example, did the Nintendo, then they did the Super Nintendo, and then they're like, we're switching to the Switch. And now we're going to do it there because if they do eventually want to come out with like an N64 emulation, I don't think they can do it at a mass profit. Because once you get into that like 3D graphics, now you got to spend a little bit more for this. It can be done, sure, but can you do it for like it only costs you $30 to build and then you're going to sell it for $79 or whatever?
Yeah, that's a really good point. I wasn't really thinking of that. When you start to think of the faster processor, more memory, you're getting to a point where you can't really offer it at a price point that's accessible to a mass amount of people to get that same success as you get out of out of the classic like they did.
That's right.
All right, here's super chat from Zohar. I have a video on it in my MK page getting it. I think he's talking about those the games we were just looking at.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, they're definitely cool. Someone made a comment that I had on the screen before about Frogger that I actually really agree with before. Can I just put this one up before we go to that one?
I'll mark that. You go ahead and I'll get back to it.
Yeah, so John Rainwater made a question asked John if they're going to make changes to the Frogger cab since a lot of the community feedback has been meh on its current form. You know, Jeff, I agree with you. So just when Justin and I were at CES, I think the one cabinet that I was like really underwhelmed with was Frogger for a lot of reasons, just because those games were generationally not really ones that I loved. I had Frogger on like the Atari 2600 and played it, but I didn't play it in the arcade. I think
I can tell you why it's coming out. We'll play a little game real quick, Ralph. Okay, so you're Walmart, all right? And I'm John D.
The question wasn't is it's coming out. The question is will they make changes?
No. Yeah. Just listen. Okay.
Okay.
I'm calling you.
All right.
Hey Walmart, you there?
Yeah, this is Walmart.
Hey man, so I got some new cabs that I've been thinking about coming out with. You want to hear the new titles?
Cabs are here. Yeah, sure. I'll hear the titles. What are they?
Okay, so have you ever heard of the game Final Fight?
Oh my God, I have no idea what you're talking about. Final Fight, no idea.
Okay, so no on the Final Fight?
I don't know. No, we're not going to order that.
Okay, what about Street Fighter?
What else you got?
Street Fighter.
Oh gosh. Oh my God. Street Fighter? Oh my God, it's awesome. We love Street Fighter. The whole family loves Street Fighter. I played it as a kid. Yes, absolutely. We'll take 10,000 of them Street Fighters for every single store. Yep.
Okay,
done.
Now 3 months later. Yeah. Hey, Walmart, how's it going?
Hey, good, man. I love we're blowing these Street Fighters out of the store over here. You know,
really?
We have a couple we have a couple stores in a couple little areas where we had to do some markdowns because we needed the space. But for the most part, oh my God, like these people they're eating up this Street Fighter.
Right.
What else you got? I mean, we have a deck protector issue, but it looks like you guys got around there with the
check this
what do you
out.
call it? That plastic stuff you put on there? What is that? The saran wrap?
Yeah. We got.
I don't know a lot about arcades.
We got that figured out, but check this out. So the Final Fight, there's tons of people asking about Final Fight. Look, I got all this proof. These social media is blowing up about Final Fight. So you want to think twice about buying Final Fight? You in?
All right. Or if you're telling me when we have the buyers meeting next month, you're gonna come with some real statistics for me because now I can't make a decision. Okay, all right. Well, I'm not gonna make a commitment right now. But all right. What else you got?
So now a year has gone by.
Okay.
Hey Walmart, how's it going? So we got some new titles for you.
Hey, I'm doing pretty good, guy. You sold me all these cabinets over here. They're blowing out of the shelves. We even got them in Canada. Mike B, the game genie's like going crazy over there. He just made like 100 videos. He loves it. Canada loves it.
So I got some new titles for you, and you're going to really love this one because everyone knows about it. It's called Frogger. Are you in?
Oh my God. I played Frogger all the time as a kid, guy.
Go.
We were South Boston. We were at this pizza parlor. It was called, oh man, what was that place called? I don't know, but this pizza parlor was awesome. It had a Frogger right in there. Then, oh my God, did you ever see that show? Did you ever see that show with Seinfeld where he takes the Frogger and he wants to buy the Frogger, and then Jerry tells him, are you listening? You heard this, right? Then Jerry tells him, Jerry gives them the bad news about how you can't take the game and keep your high score because you got to unplug it. Then they hire these shady Russian guys to help him, and he moves it across the street. And God, the poor guy, his machine is a million pieces. So, like, I almost want to find George in real life and buy him the arcade one up and give it to him and be like, dude, I feel bad. Like, I mean, George's a real guy, right?
Don't worry about it. This one will save your high scores. Absolutely.
No way, really?
Yeah.
All right, I'll buy. All right, dude, you sold me. You are a good salesman. What is your name again? I gotta talk to your boss. Is your boss Scott Baccarat? Who's your boss over there?
Yeah, it's Scott.
Tell Scott you're doing a good job. Okay, we love you here at Walmart. We love it.
Yeah,
love it. Oh my God.
So Mike says you do a perfect Rhode Island accent. That's for sure.
No, I don't know if it's perfect. I kind of went between South Boston and Rhode Island.
Right. So we missed a couple super chats. We got to go back to it. So I think that's why we got a Frogger. But like a lot of people aren't really hyped up about it. But I think it'll probably sell really well because people will take a double take. Will. You know, you're walking through the aisles at Walmart, and keep in mind, like I physically have witnessed it. You're at Walmart. You know, you go there from time to time to see if you're going to find a deal, and people take double takes when they see Mortal Kombat, and they're like, oh my God, I remember that game, right?
Yeah. I mean, Frogger. The one thing I did notice, though, we got to call this out. So Frogger, I'm pretty sure, and I wish who's the guy that we met for the first time there that I always get his name wrong? Really good guy, fan of the show.
Rexer show?
No, John. Is it John Tanaka or Troy? Oh. No, it's John.
Yeah,
right?
John Tanaka.
Right?
Yeah.
So John Tanaka, fan of the show. We finally met him in person. He's
really
all
cool.
over. He's very, very skilled with arcade, like building arcades and arcade cabinets. Super nice guy. We met him there, and he played Frogger, and I played it a little bit. Justin was thinking you have to actually run into stuff instead of dodging stuff. Not really sure where he was going with that. But but the one thing that was crazy is I think it had an 8-way stick. So I hope that they. But the thing is,
right,
I think Time Pilot needs it,
yeah,
though, right?
You're moving around, and that one's like the guy's in the center, right? And the space is kind of moving around you.
Let me just look up Time Pilot right now on the Arcade Museum. I swear that's an 8-way
Check that
game.
out. So Hobby Hands, thank you so much for the super chat.
Time Pilot's an 8-way game, dude.
Yeah, he mentions that he wants Gauntlet and Assault. Yeah, I think you're right. So that's kind of the hard part, right? Like, so what's the Frogger replayability on a 4-way stick? Now, I'm not going to be good at it no matter what, as you can tell. To be completely honest, the reason why I sucked at Frogger, for those few people that watched that video, we were doing, at that point of CES, I had said, I had already made the decision that I was going to really lower the amount of videos that I do on YouTube and just do this podcast with Ralph. We had already been in talks about doing that, and CES was really going to kick that off. And so I was like, I don't want to do any videos. I'll just be behind the camera. So I was doing all the filming, and then this one morning we were talking, and I was like, oh, you should do a couple of videos. And I hadn't prepared at all. And Ralph grabs the camera and he's like, we're going live. And I'm like, hey guys, welcome back. And we're here at CS and we're going to be talking about Frogger, and it was just like, all of a sudden I'm like, oh, wait, I'm live. Like, I haven't been live, and that's weird. And then like, hey, let's play the game. And I'm like, okay. And I was super nervous. And like in my head, I was seeing like, I don't even know how to explain it. Like, I was so nervous that like, I thought those were rafts. Like when the car was going by, literally I saw water, and you're supposed to jump on the car because he's going to help you get across the water. But clearly it's a road and it was cars.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hey, everyone has, it was just a bad, but hey, real quick, Time Pilot.
Yeah.
So Time Pilot, it had a 19-inch CRT in it. And it was an 8-way joystick, according to the Arcade Museum. By the way, guys, I go here a lot. So if you're looking for a game and you want to know its original controls, or if you went out and bought the original PCB, a lot of times the manual for that PCB is here. Like, see how it says Time Pilot PCB image. So they have images of the original things. But if I wanted, like, let's say I looked up, what's the other one in there? It's Time Pilot
84,
right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you look up Time Pilot 84, that is also on there. Then we can see a little bit. Shows you the marquee. It shows you what the design of the cabinet looked like. Now it doesn't always tell you, but that's an 8-way game too. So my guess is that if I'm them, they're probably going to ship it with the octagonal gates again. I'm thinking that would be what they do, because you do 4-way, then you limit Time Pilot, playability. So it's probably going to be that. I'm going to guess.
Right. And if you're a huge Frogger fan and you don't like the Time Pilot, you can just go 4-way and just, play your Frogger.
You just don't. I mean, if I feel like it's. I agree with you, Justin. It's a totally targeted at a certain fan base that loves Frogger, and they would probably buy that cabinet if it just had Frogger on it. Like they wouldn't even care. So, but I think for us, us in our like 40s, we kind of love a little bit more variability and a little bit more of the gameplay. So
thanks so hard for the super chat, but he came up. Yeah, small change arcade.
Yeah, that's it. Yep. That is it's so awesome. I'm gonna guys, if you haven't seen this and maybe they have the website, I'll pull it up really quick.
Yeah,
it's really exciting. Yeah, they have really cool stuff. So check this out.
Let's talk about things we all can't afford. This is great.
Yeah, this is awesome. One of those for sure. This is one of those things that. But I wish if they made these, it's not practical to make these at scale. That's probably why you don't see them. But like these are, if you look, that's the real PCB in here. So this is a lot bigger than it looks. So because you have to keep in mind it has to fit the full PCB, but this is for all intents and purposes as an arcade power supply in it. It's wired exactly like an arcade would be wired. The cabinet looks identical to, it's got original boards, original CRTs. It's 40% of the original size of a cabinet. So if you look, it's about 3 feet tall. Now they had them on like little riser-ish type things just so people walking by could play them. But I was blown away because they had a Mortal Kombat one that I was like, holy crap. And they had this RoboCop one too.
Yeah.
And it had the curved marquee and everything. Like it was, I mean, look at that. That's so cool. That's the exact layout of the game. Like that's just, I don't know. This is just so geeky and cool. But yeah, it's not practical to really, mass manufacture this, because where are you getting the CRTs and what are you doing to service these? People aren't coming out to your home to service the CRTs and these things.
Yeah,
but
check out.
It is really cool.
Yeah,
like, look how it's wired and everything. I mean, totally cool.
Yep.
Although that's a zippy joystick. I don't know why they did that. That's lame. But anyway, they do rent these, so I guess that's why. But yeah, super cool.
Very, very cool.
Neat stuff.
Yeah, so let's make sure before this episode is over.
This was a very user-driven. This was a very viewer-driven episode. You guys had a lot of input into this episode. We kind of went a bunch of different directions, so definitely appreciate that. That's fun.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun. So I want to make sure that we got everything covered that we wanted to cover. So there
was one other piece that we wanted to cover.
Yeah, what was that?
So it's just a brief one, but I wanted to talk to you a little bit about. So I'll introduce it this way because I think it's unique. So there was when we were at CES and we went over at the iArcade booth, right? There was a game. So there was, obviously they showed us Double Dragon and the stuff they could that was licensed, but there was a game that they showed that I got really excited about and I couldn't remember the name of it. But now keep in mind, you're at CES, there's sights and sounds and there's all this awesome stuff going around. So sometimes it can feel a little magical and you get sort of entrenched in that magical feeling and you're not really thinking clearly sometimes. But he showed me this game. He's like, yeah, this system can run modern games. And he shows me this, like, have you ever played Grim Valor? And I'm like, no, never played it before. He's like, yeah, it's kind of like Castlevania. You're gonna love it. You're gonna really love it. And on the arcade cabinet, it's super cool because we mapped all the controls. Yeah. And now I will say the game is kind of cool. The graphics are cool. It's fun to play. And at the time, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so neat to play on an arcade cabinet. And it's an Android game, but it is on Switch too. But it is fun. Like, I bought it for Switch. It's like $13. Mm-hmm. But after I let it soak in and I was playing it on my Switch for a while, I'm like, there's no way I'd want to play this on an arcade cabinet, because this is a game you have to invest some time into. It's multiple stages. You have to level up your character. Some of the bosses are really hard. Like, some of the final bosses are pretty difficult. So you have to learn patterns to defeat them. So I was like, no way would I want to play this standing up. Like, there's no possible way. Now, with iArcade, you could argue that I could sit down and play it because it's a bar top arcade. But the one thing I was talking to Justin over the weekend, I'm like, I don't have a bar top. Like, I'd be putting it on my kitchen counter, and most of you that have wives, girlfriends, significant others are not going to be like, yeah, cool, put your arcade on my kitchen counter. You know what I mean? So
right.
So
I think what we're saying, right, to tie it all together, right? So we have Arcade 1-Up, and you got E3. You know, what would have IR Arcade or At Games announced near the E3 if E3 wasn't canceled? And while we're talking about IR Arcade, you know, they're in the same space as Arcade 1-Up. Some have argued that there's still no competition. I somewhat agree to some of that because you got Arcade 1-Up who sold like 1 million cabinets, right? And that's awesome. And then you got other people that are selling in that same space, right? IR Arcade is one of them. A lot of people are saying they're having a lot of challenges, and I think what Ralph is saying, one of their challenges is one of the coolest experiences that we had playing the IR Arcade was a game that after Ralph was playing it, maybe might not be good for an arcade, right? And then his second point...
But that took a while for me to get to, though. It took me a while for me to get to... Sorry, your second point, but it took me a while to get to that conclusion.
Your second point is that, wait, they're selling it as a bar top. I don't own any bar tops. That's not something I've like purchased and then kept, right? They don't make it very long in the house, right?
Yeah, you know, I mean, I'll be honest. You know where my countercades are?
Where's that?
They're in the storage closet right here. I mean, they're in the house, but they're not. I don't take them out very often. Now, I think for the countercade, the newer one that's going to be smaller, you could put that like on a desk, and if you worked from home and you wanted a break, you could kind of play it, turn it on, play it. That you know, and you can do that with those little, you know, any of those little micro arcades.
Yeah.
But I'm just having a problem. I'd say I don't want to talk bad about them because I don't think there's anything to say that's bad.
No.
I just think that I'm still trying to figure out where its place is and if I'm sold on it yet. And I don't think I'm over that hump yet. The differentiation isn't there for me yet. Like what makes it different?
What does excite me, what keeps me interested is the specs that they announced. They talked about 4 gigabytes of RAM. What is it, like the DDR4X? I don't think anyone has that. DDR2 maybe, but not DDR4X. You know, so we're talking about higher access to RAM. That would be really good for a base model. That's interesting. So I'm sitting here I'm reflecting to myself saying, okay, man, if I bought something with that spec, what could I do with it? We're talking about 64 gigabytes of storage space. Man, you know how many ROMs you can store with 64 gigabytes of storage, right? That's a lot.
But the thing is, the whole point is to not hack it, though, right?
Right.
The whole point is they don't want you to hack it.
And then, okay, so keep that in mind. So with the Arcade 1-Up, one of their highest ones, I think it's like 1.3 gigahertz quad core ARM-based processor, right? So 1.3 quad core. But then the IR Arcade's like, no. We're going 2 gigahertz, and it's a hexa-core, which is like 6 cores, not 4, it's 6, right? And that's also bigger than and faster than Toy Shock's Rock Chip and At Games Rock Chip, because those are just quad cores.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you look at the price, it's really high, but the specs match the price. The specs are really high. And then so now what your challenge is, and again, that's the word I'm going to use. IR Arcade's challenge is to sell us that they are selling a high-end PCB in a bar top for $500-$600. Now, what's interesting about that is if you go talk to people that actually make bar tops, they say, how are they doing it at that price? Because I have talked to some people, and they say that price is really hard to do. So I do think, if you think about that, like go find a bar top, go find one, see how much it costs. There's not one in the market yet that's at that price point, and especially one that doesn't have those specs.
Yeah.
It's just I'm disappointed with their games so far. Like, you know.
Yeah, because now I was testing this theory. I was going to make a video, and then I realized it was kind of in poor. It wasn't in poor taste, but I just felt like, I don't know. Maybe I could do it in a different way. But I was going to show how you could use an NVIDIA Shield like inside your arcade cabinet. No matter what arcade cabinet it is, doesn't need to be a 1-Up, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to thinking, I was like, all right, well, my whole point of the video was to kind of show that all these Android games I could just play on my NVIDIA Shield anyway. But I don't know, but I kind of like playing those games on my couch with my NVIDIA Shield. Like they're kind of more games where they seem kind of Android-y. You know, they are Android games, but they just feel better to me with a controller doing that. I don't know. But anyways, it's just good. It's just how I feel like.
So Nostalgia makes a point. He says they need to focus on modern games and swap the joysticks for analog sticks If they want to promote modern games, they need to get with the modern style of sticks. I would agree with that. Like, cool. If, again, there's a conditional on this, if they're trying to promote that they have the specs for the modern games, then the controls need to match that. I don't really think, if I were that company, I'm not really sure I would go for modern games. Maybe that's just me because I'm not a modern game player. And maybe there's a bigger market you can tap into. And maybe that is a space. So like, we're going to go there because no one's doing it. Right.
Yeah.
But I still think the retro space is still huge because there's just like millions of people out there that are into retro gaming that don't even know about Arcade 1-Up yet. Yeah. It's like, if you can find those people, you can sell to them.
Yeah. The X-Arcade, so the reason why I really liked using that X-Arcade encoder when I did the Mortal Kombat 11 mod is because you can actually change the mode of your stick to an analog stick. So you could actually play like a racing game or something like that. Like you could play Forza on your arcade, but like then when I started really playing it and investing the time, I was like, well, but Forza's not fun to play on my arcade. But maybe I'm not discounting that maybe there are people out there. I just feel like it's a really small market of people that would want to play a modern game. But maybe they'll make it really awesome and start highlighting. There's a lot of new games that are modern inspired, which is retro inspired. You know, like things like Streets of Rage 4. There's that. Shoot, I can't think of there's like a couple of newer side-scrolling beat-em-ups that, you got games like Cuphead, where like they're kind of fun to play on an arcade, and they're new, right? They're retro-inspired new games. So if that's the niche, maybe that could work, right? Like, hey, we're going to be the cabinet that you could play these new games on, but you can do that on your AT games too. So you could do that on a Legends Ultimate. So it's kind of like, I'm not sure. Are you playing me out for final thoughts time, or what are you doing? Hello?
That's right. There? You know what time it is? It's final
thoughts time. All right. Oh, hey, Chris Guy's hot. How's it going? All right, it's final thoughts time. Oh wait, we have a question. Do you want to go with the question? But
okay.
Before we have a question from P-Dub's Arcade Loft. The question is, does iArcade have the best hardware specs but the worst appearance? If their cabinet form factor looked more like a traditional arcade, would you be interested in it? I actually find that a very interesting question.
Yeah.
Because I do think looks have a lot to do with it. Now, there are people that will say that the AT games doesn't look good. I actually just think the graphics don't look good, but the cabinet design is actually pretty... Right? Yeah. No, but I'm actually okay with it. Like, I'm looking at it right now. I mean, I skinned mine differently. I don't have any problem with the shape of it. It looks like you took a regular arcade cabinet, kind of sliced it down the middle, and kind of gave it like a little bit of a Swanee kind of look, but... I like it. Like, I don't mind that after you've modified it. Now, it didn't have the artwork, but it had the other part. It didn't have the artwork, but it had the game capability, like letting me bring my own ROMs, letting me use Steam. Like, all of that gave me accessibility to games. So it has a differentiation. At games means multicade differentiation to me, right? Full of bigger size, good controls, differentiation. iArcade. What's the differentiation? Their version of it is the experience, but you need to define that, right? Like, define the experience. So I think if it had maybe a better cabinet shape and it wasn't like, it didn't look like it was a bar top on top of a pedestal, I think it would appeal to more people. If it looked more like a traditional arcade, that would help, because appearance does mean something. Maybe
what they're doing was necessary. They're like, we want the high spec,
question, I think.
So you have to lower, you can't do a full-size arcade, right? You have to do a bar top. There's a give and take, right?
Yeah. I mean, you can go. Mike goes the other way. He thinks a teenager built. He looks like a teenager built it. So I mean, there's extreme theories going on. But I will say this: it looks a lot nicer in the form it's in now than it did at CES.
Yeah.
At CES, it arguably looked actually like it was a prototype. Like it didn't even like the way the control panel was sitting on everything. You could tell they were using quality controls, but it looks slapped together as a prototype. And some stuff looks like that at CES. You go look around and you're like, ooh, like that's definitely a prototype. And it looked like one. Didn't feel like one, but it looked like one, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, you know what time it is?
Okay, hold on. Okay, Lewis. Okay, fine. I did say it looked ugly before I skinned it. Okay. All right, fine.
Yeah, but you were just clarifying, right? That it was. You were just clarifying that it was the artwork. The actual shape of that game.
Yeah, no, I didn't mean the shape necessarily. It just looked ugly from an artwork. I think in my good, bad, and ugly video, I said she ain't pretty or something like that, and it wasn't. Like, the artwork's just kind of so generic. But no, Lewis, it's a good point. I did say it was ugly before, and I still think it is ugly in its stock form. But hey, I got to give them credit. They shoved more controls on a single control panel I've ever seen in my life, and they all work pretty well. So that's a pretty big accomplishment there. All right, it's final thoughts time.
Is that how you play it? Look in my eye.
I can't do it.
What do you see? A cult of personality. That's all I got. Sorry,
that's not final thoughts. All right, Mike. Thanks, Mike. All right, cool. All right, so
okay, sorry.
All right, what? Oh, by the way, when you do reskin something like an Ad Games, to do it right, it's going to cost you some money, right? I don't. This is going to be a little bit of controversy here, but I'm sorry, I got to say it like it is. I would highly recommend, if you're going to do an At Games, the one kit that I found is awesome. And if you're going to invest the money, and it is worth investing the money, is go to Joe Sabo. He builds by far the best kit for the At Games. It's kind of a specialized kit, and it's specialized for a reason. If you go with trying to think you're going to vinyl skin that control panel, even though there's some ways around it, I don't think you're going to have a great experience. So I'm saying that. I'm putting my stake in the ground. If you want At Games, there's many vendors out there, but if you want an At Games skinned, Joe Sabo's your guy. 100%.
All right. You know what time it is?
Thanks. Oh, hold on. Yeah, Joe, you can pay me later. All right. I'm kidding. He didn't do that. All right, guys. It's final thoughts time. So what did we learn today? We learned, even though we already knew, we learned again that E3 is canceled. Now, we didn't do that to upset you, to make you mad, to bring you down. We did it because there's still a slew of products available, so they're going to rise up from the ashes and be presented to us over the next 2 months, and that's exciting. And we learned that John D is going to be on the show in the next couple weeks, and we are going to grill the hell out of him, and hopefully he doesn't watch this episode all the way to the end, because he might not even decide to come on. But we're going to grill the crap out of him when he's on. Right, guys? Right. John, if you're listening, we're going to be totally easy on you. All softballs. We also learned that we actually have had an episode where we didn't make fun of the IIIs in III Arcade. That's really cool, because number one, that joke is getting old, and I think, honestly, it's not even that funny. So, we also learned that Justin can play Cult of Personality. Didn't know that, didn't even know he was going to play it. And that's all I got. Oh, we also learned that if our speculation is correct, we are going to see potentially racing games and shooting games from Arcade 1UP at some point, hopefully to be announced in the next couple months. And if they do make a Back to the Future pinball machine, we're going to lose our freaking minds live on the 1UP Weekly. And that's it.
One more prediction. I really think next week, John D is going to announce a new product, and it's going to be a light-up stool. It's going to be amazing.
A light-up stool? Dude, no. He's not doing a light-up stool. That's nonsense. But imagine if he did. Imagine if it was a pressure-sensitive light-up stool where, like, oh, I know. No, like, do you guys remember Hypercolor back in the day? Those shirts that would get warmer and change colors? Imagine as your butt gets warmer. Ooh, look, it's blue. Or it's red. I mean, that could be pretty cool. Light up stools. Yes. Get all of I don't know. But imagine you're on your light up stool with your Retro Ralph yoga pants. That, my friend, is a win. All right. That's all I got. We got to play us out, Justin. Is it closing time or what?
Nope.
So wait, hold on. Okay, Jeff made me laugh. One sec. Don't give him stupid ideas. We've seen them make stupid stuff on their own. Okay. Oh, yeah. Just for the record, John D's not saying he's going to be on next week. It's within the next couple weeks, so we'll get him on. All right. You guys are dropping like flies. We got one more super chat, and then we got to get out of here. If he does, I'll mail him my stool. That is gross, Stringer Films. That's very, very disgusting. No one wants that. But if you guys remember back in the day at Spencer Gifts, they used to sell that fake piece of poop. I was obsessed with that back as a kid. I used to always go in the store and look at that fake piece of poop. I have no idea why, but I know you guys know what I'm talking about if you had a Spencer Gifts in your store. And that, my friend, is the worst way we could end the episode, but we got to end it. Closing time, buddy. We got to do it. We got to get out of here. We got to leave. Time is now.
Closing time. One last call for alcohol, so finish your whiskey or beer. Zohar. Closing time. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. So gather up your jackets, move it to the exits. I can't sing when Ralph is trying to sing over me. Closing time. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. I know who I want to take me home. I know who I want to take me home. Take me home. Closing time. Every new beginning comes from... Take it away, Ralph.
Some of the beginnings, and that's it. We will see you on
the next
one. Thanks, guys. Take care. See you next week.
See ya.